From the shadows of ancient folklore to the silver screen, the enigmatic allure of she-wolves has captivated us werewolf lovers for centuries. Steeped in myth and mystery, these female werewolves have emerged from the depths of legends, defying societal expectations and challenging conventional narratives. So join us on a journey into the origin of she-wolves, where ancient myths intertwine with tales of witch hunts and where fangs and femininity converge under the pale glow of the moon. Unveiling their hidden power and celebrating their untamed spirit, this is the extraordinary story of how she-wolves have howled their way into our hearts and forever transformed the lore of the wolf. The concept of female werewolves or werewolf women has its roots in various folklore and mythological traditions from different cultures around the world. The origin of female werewolves can be traced back to ancient times when people shared stories and beliefs about shape-shifting beings. In many ancient cultures, there were myths and legends surrounding the transformation of humans into animals, including wolves. These stories often featured male werewolves, but there were also instances of female werewolves or wolf-like women. One notable example comes from Greek mythology, where the story of Lycaon, a mythical king of Arcadia, is often associated with the origin of werewolves. According to the myth, Lycaon offended Zeus by serving him human flesh, and as a punishment, Zeus transformed Lycaon. Some versions of the myth also mention Lycaon's daughters being transformed into wolves, thereby establishing a connection between female werewolves and this ancient Greek legend. In European folklore, the concept of male werewolves became more prevalent during the Middle Ages. Legends and superstitions arose, often associating women with witchcraft and supernatural powers. The idea of women transforming into wolves or wolf-like creatures gained popularity, especially during the witch hunting era. These beliefs were fueled by the fear and persecution of women who were accused of practicing witchcraft or engaging in other forms of dark or forbidden activities. The association between female werewolves and witches continued in the folklore and literature of subsequent centuries. In many tales, female werewolves were depicted as cunning and dangerous, often using their shape-shifting abilities for evil purposes. These portrayals reflected the prevailing societal attitudes and fears surrounding women and their perceived power or threat to patriarchal authority. It is important to note that the concept of werewolves, both male and female, has evolved and been reimagined in various forms of literature, film, and popular culture over the years. While the origins of female werewolves can be traced to ancient myths and folklore, their representation in modern media often incorporates new interpretations and narratives. The female werewolf is a well-established figure in fantasy. From the best-selling serials of Carrie Vaughan, author of the Kitty Norville novels, and Kelly Armstrong, author of Bitten and its sequels, to the small press-published Silver Moon by Catherine Lundorf and L.L. Rand's Sylvan Moore stories, female werewolves have made their mark on urban fantasy and paranormal romance. But although male werewolves have appeared in fiction since the very beginning, female werewolves are relatively new literary monsters. So where do these female werewolves come from, and what baggage do they bring to contemporary fantasy and horror? The male werewolf has enjoyed a long existence in both fiction and non-fiction writing. The earliest literary reference to a man transformed into a wolf appears in the Akkadian epic of Gilgamesh, which is widely considered to be one of the earliest examples of literature. Nevertheless, the 19th century, besides many werewolves or man-wolves, also saw significant new tropes introduced to werewolf literature. In 1839, Frederick Marryat's The Phantom Ship featured a female werewolf, the earliest example in Anglophone literature. Few Victorian authors followed suit. However, Clemens Houseman's The Werewolf of 1896 remains the most well-known, but also one of the last pieces of Victorian female werewolf fiction. So if we do make an overview of several millennia of European werewolves, it raises a very important question. Where were the female werewolves, and what are the implications of their absence for female werewolf fiction? The absence of female werewolves in ancient, classical and medieval literature is an interesting one, and various suggestions have been made to account for it. Most common is the theory that wolves, and so by definition werewolves, have long been understood as hyper-masculine creatures associated with aggression, hunting and territorialism. Perhaps the closest parallel would be the long-standing association of women with snakes. The snake woman is a figure in both classical and medieval storytelling. For instance, the serpent-head Medusa or the shape-shifting Melusine. Though the werewolves are more commonly men, there are some female werewolves prior to the 19th century. Perhaps the earliest literary female werewolf is found in Gerald of Wales' Topographia Hibernica. This Latin text was written by Gerald, a royal clerk and archdeacon, after the Norman invasion of Ireland. In one episode, Gerald recounts a story of a traveling priest who is confronted by two werewolves in the kingdom of Asori, one male and one female. In the 16th century, we find another female lycanthrope of note. In his Discours execrable des sorciers, a treatise on trying and interrogating witches, demonologist and Judge Henry Boguet wrote about a number of cases of werewolfism. Although most of the cases involve men, he tells the story of a huntsman in the Auvergne who, after being confronted by a wolf, cuts off the animal's paw and takes it as a trophy to show his friend. When he removes the severed paw from his pouch, he discovers that it has transformed into the hand of a noble woman. His friend recognizes a gold ring on the hand and confesses that it belongs to his wife. Boguet also wrote about the case of Perronnette Gandelon, which took place in 1598. Perronnette was killed by a mob after it was claimed she had transformed into a wolf and killed a young boy. In the subsequent trials of other members of the Gandelon family, who were variously accused of witchcraft and lycanthropy, Perronnette was cast as a werewolf, a woman who had mastered shape-shifting through black magic and demonic pact. But the female werewolf is more than simply a snake woman cast in a lupine form, don't you think? Despite its longevity, the werewolf story is still a work in progress. The overwhelming history of constructing female werewolves through the male gaze or through class-based and racial societal divisions, it is a big thing to overcome. Well guys, with these tales, we are coming to the end of the video. There are quite a number of tales, but those will be stories for another day perhaps. For now, we only wanted to highlight the entrance of the female werewolves into the era of novels, films and fantasy. But as we bid farewell to the haunting tales and fierce legends of she-wolves, we carry with us a newfound appreciation for their untamed essence and indomitable spirit. So let us honor the she-wolves who have graced our stories, forever inspiring us to embrace our own wild nature and to howl defiantly in the face of societal expectations. For within each of us there resides a she-wolf, ready to unleash her own primal magic upon the world. Well, what do you think about this, guys? Let me know. You can always drop your thoughts in the comment section. down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Before you go, please do not forget to support us by liking our videos and subscribing to the channel. Till then, this is Halabella and see you soon in our next video.